Hi, this is Krista at the Secret Yarnery. Today we are making this super easy round granny square baby blanket. What's super great about it is the increases are every few rows. It's not all the time, so you don't have to think, oh, I need to do my 12 increases this round and look for where they are. It also helps the blanket be super round on the edge. It's nice and curved everywhere. It's not boxy at all. And it's such a fun pattern. So it's just mindless granny square, and then every few rows you have to pay attention and put increases. So I really enjoyed working on it. And it has this really fun border just to kind of pull it together on the edge. How cute is that? So what I used to make this blanket is 2 cakes of Cakes DK from Ice Yarns and less than half of a skein of Super Baby just for the border to give it some pop. You can use any color you want at all depending on what colors are in your cake that you're using. You can also make this blanket in solid yarn. It doesn't have to change color, but I thought it's so cute. It just looks like a forever cake. So I used Super Baby for the border and 2 cakes of Cakes DK for the center. What you do want to pay attention to when you are picking which cake to start with, if your cakes are different, is whatever is in the very center, that is going to be your biggest color of your blanket. So the cake I chose started with a little bit of mango and then went into mandarin. So if I use this cake, this big circle would be purple, and if I use this one, maybe the mango would be the turquoise and the mandarin would be the green. So just pick which color you love the most from the center of your cake, and that will be almost the main color of your baby blanket. I used a 5mm needle for this project. You will also need scissors, a darning needle, and a stitch marker. If you are using different yarn, just use whatever hook is recommended for your yarn. So let's get started. We're going to start by doing a slip knot. So just make a slip knot any which way you normally do or you're comfortable with, and shrink it down and put it on your hook. You don't need to leave too much of a tail. We're just going to work over it and snip it off. So a couple inches is fine. Now chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. And we're going to go into our very first chain. So you don't count the knot and you don't count what's on your hook. You just count these V's in between. So there's 1, 2, and 3. We're going to go into the very first one right on top of that knot. So just push your hook in. And now we want to get ourselves a little bit ready. So hold your tail down along your work, and you kind of want to pull it a little bit to get a little bit of a U shape. Just like that, a little U. And now hold it open with your finger and thumb and bring that yarn through both of those loops to form a ring. I'm still holding it open, and chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. This counts as our first double crochet. So now wrap your yarn and into that very center of the ring where you're holding it open. 1 double crochet. So now you can let go because you can just follow that double crochet back into the center, and you want to hold your tail around the edge of that ring, so we're going to be working over it as we build our circle. So 1 more double crochet into that ring. So that counts as our first 3 double crochets. Chain 1 and 3 more double crochets into the center of that ring, taking care to go over that tail. If you're not sure how to do your double crochets, I'll put a link up in the cards, and you can just go click on that and refresh on how to do the double crochets. Chain 1 and 3 more double crochets, all into the center of the ring. 2 and 3. Chain 1 again. So between all of our shells for this pattern, we will be doing a chain 1. Pinch your ring and just push those stitches back, and that'll give you much more space to work around so your stitches can lay nice and flat and side by side. So 3 more double crochets into the center of the ring. We're going to do this until we have a total of 6 sets of 3 double crochets. There's 3 more. Chain 1 and 3 more again. 2 and 3, like that. Pinch that ring and push those stitches back. We want a total of 6 sets. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So chain 1 again, and 3 more double crochets. Make sure you have enough space to lay it down nice and flat on that ring. 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. So that has finished up. There'll be 18 stitches all together. Make sure you have them separated with a chain 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now we're going to join to the top of the chain 3. So the easiest way for me to see it is I just follow this post up, and that will be the top of my double crochet. I want to go to the next stitch over, and I want to make sure I have 2 strands of that stitch on the top part of my hook. You can also trace your stitches back, but I find they also get covered up by the double crochets. So it looks like these little V's, it looks like it's the top of the chain 2. So that's why I tend to just trace it backwards. So that's my double. I want to go into the very next stitch. That is the top of the chain 3. So put your hook in, and we're going to do a single crochet to join. So grab your yarn and bring it back, wrap your yarn and take off 2. So there is a single crochet join, and I'm holding that corner open with my finger and thumb just so I know where that corner is. Sometimes that chain can kind of slip onto the other side, and then it's a bit awkward. So chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. Wrap your yarn and right into that corner space, 2 double crochets. 1 and 2. Just like that. Chain 1. Wiggle your fingers to find the next spot. Right in with your hook and 3 double crochets. We're going to do an increase for this round. 1 increase into every chain 1 space. An increase is 3 double crochets, chain 1, and 3 double crochets into the same space. 1, 2, and 3. So that is an increase, and we're going to do that into every chain 1 spot all the way along. So chain 1 in between everything and into the next space, 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets. Chain 1, 3 more double crochets into the same spot. 1, 2, and 3. Chain 1, and an increase into the next spot. So all the way around every one of these chain 1 spots, we're going to do an increase all the way around. So into each one, you're going to do 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets, chain 1. So keep working your way around, doing an increase into every space, in between every set of 3 double crochets, going around, and I'll meet you when we get back to where we joined. So chain 1, and now into that space, right where we did our chain, we're going to do 3 double crochets. And that's going to finish off this increase. 1, 2, and 3. So that is what it looks like right now. And instead of doing a chain, we're just going to single crochet to join. So the top of that chain 3, we can kind of see it now. There's 1 at the bottom, 2, and here is 3. Of course, you're welcome to just go over straight from that double crochet and pick the next stitch over. You want to make sure you have 2 strands of that stitch on your hook. So push your hook straight on in, grab your yarn and bring it back, wrap your yarn and take off 2. So that is a single crochet to join, and chain 3. 1, 2, 3. No turning your work, just hold that space open with your thumb and finger, and 2 double crochets into that space. That is my puppy snoring over there, having a good nap. So it looks like this, and now for this round, we're just going to be doing 1 shell into each space, going all the way around, and shells are double crochets. We're putting a chain 1 in between. So shell, chain 1, all the way around into every space. So our next space is this big one right here, waiting for 3 double crochets. And a chain 1. Now in the center of that increase, where that chain 1 is, another 3 double crochets with a chain 1. There's 1, 2, 3, and a chain 1. Into the space, 3 double crochets with a chain 1. So now you can pause the video and get caught up. Each one of these spaces going all the way around. In between the increases plus in the center of the increases, each one of those spaces is going to be getting a shell. And shells are 3 double crochets with a chain 1. So just wrap your yarn and into every space, 3 double crochets with a chain 1, and I will meet you when we get back to this side. It'll look like this when you've reached your way around, and you can kind of see the edges have curled up a bit. It's not laying flat like a little pancake, it's kind of dished up. This is how you know you need to do an increase round as it gets larger. So for now, we're going to do a single crochet to join. So to the top of the chain 3, so 1, 2, and 3. I'm just going to go right at the bottom of that chain, so I get 2 strands on the top of my hook, and make a single crochet to join. So we're always joining the same way for this entire pattern, and chaining 3. 1, 2, 3. Now hold this space open and 2 double crochets into that same space. 1 and 2. Chain 1, and into the next space we're going to be doing an increase. So wrap your yarn and increases, 3 double crochets, chain 1, and 3 double crochets, chain 1, all into the same space. Chain 1, and 3 more double crochets, all into the same spot. 1, 2, 3, chain 1, and into the next space, just a regular shell. So 3 double crochets with a chain 1. There's 1, 2, 3, and a chain 1. Into the next space, an increase. So 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets, chain 1, into the same space. So it'll look like this, going all the way around. You want to do just a regular shell and then an increase, a regular shell and then an increase, with a chain 1 in between every set of 3 double crochets. So pause the video, work all the way around, and I'll meet you when we get back to where we started. So I've made it all the way around. So I have not chained after that last increase, and I'm going to go into the top of the chain 3, 1, 2, 3, same as before, to do our single crochet to join, and chain 3, 1, 2, 3. I'm holding that spot open with my finger and thumb, and 2 double crochets into that same space, 1 and 2. So for this round, we're going to be doing shell, shell, increase. So just a regular shell, increase. I don't want them right on top of the increases we did in the row below. I want it to stay super, like as round as it can be. So I'm going to do my increases into one of these spaces along the side. So I'm going to start doing, I'll do an increase right where we started. So this will be an increase when I get all the way around. So I'm going to do shell, shell, and an increase. So when we're starting, we're going to start by making what looks like 3 shells. 1, 2, 3, chain 1, into the next space, the center of that increase down below, just a regular shell, 3 double crochets with a chain 1, and into the space right after we'll do our increase. So this will help keep it nice and round. So 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets, chain 1, into that same space. Just like that. So now I'm going to do 2 regular shells. Regular shells, 3 double crochets, chain 1. And everything's worked into the spaces, so that helps it go quite a bit quicker. 1, 2, 3, chain 1. Next is going to be my increase. Increases, 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets, chain 1. Just like that. So now pause the video, keep going around, doing 2 shells, an increase, 2 shells and an increase with a chain 1 in between every 3 double crochets, and I'll meet you when you get back over here. So here we are back where we started, and you'll remember that this first shell where we started, that's going to be an increase. So I want to go right back into that same spot and do 3 double crochets and a single crochet to join. So wrap your yarn into that same spot where we joined, 3 double crochets, and we're going to single crochet to the top of the chain 3 to join. So I just go, I see my last double crochet, I just go to that stitch right beside it. Just push your hook in, bring your yarn back, and single crochet to join. Now wiggle your fingers to make sure you have the center of that corner or that increase. You want 3 double crochets on each side. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Wrap your yarn and into the same spot, 2 double crochets. And a chain 1. And now we are ready to start round 6. So round 6 and 7 are really easy. We're just doing the same thing, just shell round. So just 1 shell, so 3 double crochets with a chain 1 into each stitch. So for round 6, we're going around, we're just putting 1 set of 3 double crochets with a chain 1 into every single space, going all the way around, including our increases, just 1 into each chain 1 spot from the round below. And I'll meet you when you get back to where we started. After your last shell of 3 double crochets, no chaining 1, we're going to single crochet over to the top of that chain 3. So single crochet to join, holding that space open with your finger and thumb. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3. 2 double crochets into that same space. 1 and 2. Chain 1. So for round 7, we're doing the exact same thing. 1 shell, which is 3 double crochets with a chain 1 into every single space, going all the way around our circle. And I'll meet you when we get back to where we joined. I've worked my way back around. No chaining when you do your last shell at the top. We're in a single crochet instead of chain. And you can see it's kind of scooped up on the edge. So that is great, that's what we want. So we're gonna join, just doing a single crochet to the top of the chain 3 to join. Chain 3 to get your first double crochet. Wrap your yarn, 2 double crochets into the same spot. That counts as your first shell. And chain 1. We are ready for round 8. Now round 8, we're going to be doing increases. So this counts as our first shell. So we're going to do 2 shells. So into the next space, a shell. So 3 double crochets, chain 1. Like that. And into the next space, we're going to do an increase. So 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets, chain 1. So that is our repeat for this round. Two shells and an increase. So next we'll do our 2 shells, 1 into each space. There's 2 double crochets, here's our third. Chain 1 and 1 more shell. 3 double crochets. Chain 1. Like that. Now we'll be doing an increase. So we're going to keep going like this all the way around this round for round 8. Increase, 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets, chain 1. So this is what it looks like for this round. We're doing 2 shells and then an increase, 2 shells and then an increase. There's a chain 1 in between every set of 3 double crochets. So pause the video and keep going around doing your 2 shells and increase until we reach back where we started. So the end of round 8, no chaining after that last shell, and we're going to single crochet to join. So top of the chain 3, push your hook in and single crochet to join. Hold it open with your thumb and finger, chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Wrap your yarn, 2 double crochets into that same space. And now 9 and 10, they are just regular shell rows. So we're just going to go around doing one shell into every space, making sure we go into our increases. The center of our increases counts as a space. One into each space all the way around for 2 rounds. So pause the video and I will meet you back for round 11. So back to where we joined. You can see it's kind of dishing up again, a bit like a saucer. And no chaining after your last shell. Do the same, single crochet to join. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Round 11 is the same as our last increase round. Increase, shell, shell, increase. All the way along. So we're going to start with shells. So 2 double crochets into that first space, right where we did our chain. Chain 1, shell into the next space, 3 double crochets, chain 1. Like that, and now we're going to be doing an increase. So increases, 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets, chain 1, all into the same space. Just like this. So keep going around doing 2 shells and an increase. So 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets, chain 1, and an increase. 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets, chain 1, all into the same space. All the way around, and I will meet you when you get back to where we started. So end of row 11, no chaining afterwards. So single crochet to join, top of that chain 3, chain 3, 1, 2, 3. And now the next 2 rounds, you are going to be doing just regular shells, no increases. So 1 shell, 3 double crochets, chain 1 into each space, going all the way around your circle, and I will meet you when we are ready to start row 14. So finished round 13. You can kind of see it's starting to like scoop up a bit on the sides again. Not laying perfectly flat, but still quite great. And you can go around your circle and see if there's any spots that look a bit flat. Like to me, this side right here looks a bit flat. So I'm going to take a stitch marker and just pop a stitch marker into that spot just to tell me when I'm going around. I want to make an increase. So wherever it's flat for you, that's where we're going to like line up our increases. Doesn't totally matter if yours is looking circular everywhere, just keep going with the pattern. Or if you have a little flat spot, you want to kind of tweak it up, then we will be doing our increase into this space, and we will just backtrack to find out what we're going to do when we start. So for round 14, we're going to do the same. So increase, and then 2 regular, increase, 2 regular, increase, 2 regular, increase. So I'm going to increase into this first space, and that should even out my flat spot over on this side. So this increase round is the exact same as we have been doing before. So single crochet to join, chain 3, and 2 double crochets into that first space, right where you did your chain. And just to even out this flat spot that I think I have over here, we're going to start with an increase right here. So increase into that first space. So increases, 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets, chain 1, all into the same space, just like that. 2 regular shells, so 3 double crochets, chain 1 into the next 2 spaces. There's our 3rd double crochet, chain 1, and another double crochet. Another shell with a chain 1. So this is our repeat for this round. Again, same increase as we did before. So increase, 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets, chain 1, shell, 3 double crochets, chain 1, shell, 3 double crochets, chain 1. Next space will be an increase. So we're going to keep doing this all the way around this round, and I'll meet you when you get back to where we started. So end of round 14. We're just gonna single crochet to join like we always have been, and do our chain 3 straight off and our 2 double crochets into that space, just so we know what we're doing. And the next 3 rounds are going to be regular shell rounds. So no increases for the next 3 rounds. So you can just go ahead and make 1 shell with a chain 1 in between every cluster or every shell all the way around for 3 rounds. So that is round 15, 16, and 17, and I will meet you back for row 18. So round 17 is complete. Just have to do our single crochet to join and chain 3, 2 double crochets into that same joining space, and a chain 1. So now for round 18, we are going to be doing increases again. We are going to be increasing into every 4th space. So we're going to be doing 3 shells and then an increase. So there is our first shell with including our chain 3, chain 1, and into the next 2 spaces, so we need a total of 3 shells with a chain 1 in between. So there's 2, and here is our 3rd. So we're spacing out our increases as our circle gets larger. There is our 3. 1, 2, 3. Into the 4th space right over here is going to be our increase. So to an increase in there, 3 double crochet, chain 1, and 3 double crochet. Chain 1. So there we go, that is our repeat for this round. 3 shells separated by a chain 1, increase, chain 1 in the center and after, and we're going to be doing this into every space going all the way around our circle. So pause the video and I'll meet you when you get back to where we started. At the end of row 18, it's a little off count now because we did a different increase count, so it's not going to work out perfectly where you're going to end on an increase with the 3 shells on each side. So I've done 3 shells to begin and I have 2 here, so into the last space I'm going to do an increase. So it's like that, and instead of doing my chain, I'm going to do my single crochet to join. Like that, hold it open, do my chain 3 and 2 double crochets right into that corner space or into that spot where we joined, just so I know what I'm doing. So now for the next 4 rounds, round 19, 20, 21, and 22, no increases. We're just going to do 4 rounds of plain shells. So just 3 double crochets and a chain 1 in every space going around for 4 rounds. So pause the video, get that done, and I'll meet you back for round 23. So just finished row 22. I put a stitch marker on my last increase round so I could just easily count 1, 2, 3, and 4 rows without any increases, just shell rounds. Now I'm going to single crochet to join without doing any chaining after that last shell. So single crochet, hold that space open, chain 3, and 2 double crochets. So same as always. Round 23, we're going to be doing 3 shells. So this is our first shell, second, third, and then an increase. So 1 chain in between and 3 double crochets with a chain 1 into the next 2 spaces. So there's the 3 shells, the starting and the next 2, and into the 4th, a increase. So increase into the 4th space, just like that. 3 more shells into the next 3 spaces, just like that, and into the 4th we're going to do an increase. So you're going to keep going all the way around like this, and I'll meet you back when we get to where we started. So I've just finished row 23, and again you can see the spacing does not work out perfectly even. So you can decide if you're going to put in another increase or you're just going to skip straight over it. For this round, I'm going to skip straight over it. I don't think I need, it's not really dishing up or feeling like it's really tight. So for this round, I'm just going to join straight into that top of the chain 3 with a single crochet, and I'm not going to worry about putting in that extra increase. So in between the increase here on either side of my join, there's 5 shells for me. It's up to you. You can put in one, you can not put in one, no big deal. I'm not going to put in one. So just keep going. The next 5 rows are going to be just regular shell rows. So 3 double crochets with a chain 1 into every single space for 5 rounds. So that will be really great. You can watch TV and you don't really have to think about anything. I'm just gonna move my stitch marker up and pop it onto that round we just finished. So I know where my increase is, and when I get to this stitch marker, I'm gonna be counting 5 rows before I do anything new. So pause the video, do your next 5 rows, and I'll meet you back for row 29. So I finished row 28, just have to join it up. I just want to show you what it is doing now. So we did 5 rows of no increasing, and you can see the last row is actually flipped over. We can push it flat. It's not that we can't, but I'm just showing you what it looks like. If yours is like, oh my gosh, don't worry about it. You see how it's completely flipped over on this side? That means we're going to start increasing. So that is what you're looking for. If you're making your blanket even bigger, you keep going until it kind of looks like this and then do an increase row. So that is the indicator that you need to increase. So finishing off row 28, same as always, single crochet and chain 3, 2 double crochets into the same space. And for row 29, we are going to be doing 3 shells and then an increase. So the same as we did before. So chain 1 and 3 shells, 1 into each of the spaces. So there is our first 3 shells. And the next space will be an increase. So increases is just 2 shells into the same spot. So increase into the 4th space, 3 double crochet, chain 1, 3 double crochet, chain 1. So this is the repeat for round 29, 3 shells and an increase. So keep going around, 3 shells and an increase into the 4th space, and I'll meet you when we get back to where we started. The end of row 29, no chaining after your last shell, we're just gonna join and keep going. Single crochet to join, chain 3, 2 double crochets into that same space to get going, and we're gonna be doing 6 rows of just shells, so 6 shell rows. I have moved my stitch marker up, so I'll just be counting from my stitch marker up to make sure I have 6 rows. And I have finished my cake, or I've almost finished my cake. So I just want to show you how to get started on your next cake in case your colors don't line up in the exact center from where you finished. I have finished on this mango color, which is somewhere right in between the yellow and the orange. And if you kind of wiggle your fingers down, you can get right in there. Wiggle your fingers around. I'm going to pull up this entire yellow section here. So I'll have 2 cakes. There we go. So there's yellow out. Just like that. And that is where it changes color. So I'm going to cut it just in there. And then put this cake back for when I am going to be finishing up. Now it'll join from the outside when I'm finished this green, that will join up with the center green. So that's what I'm going to do when I finish this. I'll join and work from the center of this mini skein right here. So I have my old yarn and my new yarn, and I want to just lay them out like this so they are going opposite directions. So take your old yarn and just lay it across your new yarn under and make just a regular knot. Just like that. You don't have to pull it super tight yet. So now we still have our new yarn and our old yarn. So take your new yarn and we'll do the same thing. Lay it over top of your old yarn, under, and make a regular knot. Just like that around your old strand and pull it down a little bit. Now take both your strands and pull them. So you'll be sliding those knots towards each other. Now take your tail and pinch it down, and your other tail and pinch it down. This is when you can make your knots nice and tight. And then pull them together really tight. So you'll see you have one of those really hard knots, a little crunchy knot. So now you can decide if you're going to cut your tails off, or you can leave your tails and just kind of work them in a smudge with your needle. It's up to you. I am going to cut mine. If you are using a yarn that is mercerized or shiny, you would want to weave in your tails. So I'm just going to cut it. I left a smudge of yarn there, not too much. And now I'm going to keep going with my new cake and do 6 rows of shells. So get those done and I'll meet you back for row 36. End of row 35. So I put my stitch marker on my last increase row, and there is 6 rows on top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So that is the end of our regular shell rows. So I'm just going to single crochet to join, chain 3, and do my 2 double crochets. Now for round 36, we are going to be doing 3 shells and an increase into the 4th space. So this is the increase for round 36, 3 shells and then an increase. So 3 shells and increase into the 4th space. So keep going around like that and I'll meet you when you get back to where we started. Round 36, just about finished. I'm going to move up my stitch marker way down here from my last increase round, and I'm just going to put it on my new round I just finished. So I'm going to put it onto round 36, just onto the whole cluster, like that. Finish off round 36. And now until you run out of yarn, we're just going to be doing shell stitches. So 3 double crochets, chain 1 into every space going all the way around for the next 5 or 6 rows, or until you run out of yarn and don't have enough to finish that round. So keep going and I'll meet you when you have run out of yarn. So I've finished round 41. I have done 5 rows with just shells after my row of increases, and I have a little bit of yarn left, but not enough to get all the way around again. So to finish off your last round of regular shells, chain 1, and we're going to slip stitch to the top of the chain 3 to join. So just push your hook in and slip stitch. Chain 1 to secure your yarn. Cut your yarn, leaving a long enough tail to sew in with a needle later. Pull your hook up and your yarn through and snug that down to secure. So that is the end of making our circle. Now we'll start on the border. Flip your circle over. So we're working into the back of our work. That's just going to help our circle lay flat later on. I don't want to join my new yarn right where I left off. I'm just going to move over a smudge, just so I'm not joining yarn in the same spot. To join your new yarn, just put your hook into any space, any chain 1 space from the back of your work, and put a loop of your new yarn on your hook, leaving a long enough tail to sew in with a needle later. Bring it through and slip stitch with both strands to join. Drop your tail and chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. Into this next chain 1 space, we're going to make a single crochet and chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Next space, single crochet, chain 3. Next space, single crochet. So we're just going to start by making these spaces all the way along. Single crochet, chain 3, single crochet, chain 3, all the way around your circle. So chain 3, and into the next space, single crochet. So keep going like this all the way around your circle, and I'll meet you when we get back to where we just joined. When you get back to where you started, I did my chain 3. Now we're going to go straight into the center of that slip stitch, just into the center of that V, right there to join. So push your hook straight into that V and slip stitch to join, just like that. So that kind of makes it look like the rest of our single crochets. Chain 3 and turn your work. Into each space, going all the way around, we're going to be doing 3 double crochets into each space. So there's our 1, 2, and 3. And into the stitch, we're going to be doing 1. There's 1 into the stitch. So 3 into the space. 1, 2, and 3. And 1 into the stitch, just like that. So keep going around, doing 3 into each space and 1 into each stitch, all the way around, and I will meet you when you get back to where we started. When you've made your last 3 double crochets into the last space, you can slip stitch the top of the chain 3 and then chain 1, cut your yarn, pull it through to join like usual, or you could do an invisible join, which I will show you how to do. Cut your yarn, leaving a long enough tail, about 6 inches. You don't want to stress out about it. And pull your hook up before you even join. Just pull your hook up and your yarn through that very last double crochet that you made. So just thread your needle and keep an eye. You want to keep an eye on right where that yarn is coming from. See, the center of that stitch is what you want to keep your eye on. And where you would normally join, top of the chain 3, like we did for the whole blanket, just get underneath that loop at the front and underneath the loop at the back. So you kind of want to turn that chain into a V stitch or into a V. And just put your needle straight through. And then keeping an eye right where your yarn came from, you want to go right back down into where it came from. And just go all the way down to the bottom of that stitch. And that gives you a nice invisible join on your blanket. So now just sew in your tail as you normally would, and your blanket is finished. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, let me know down in the comments below. Give the video a thumbs up, share with a friend, and I'd love to see what yarn you used for yours and how yours worked up. You can post your photos to our Facebook group, the Secret Yarnery Crochet Community. If you're not on social media, you could just drop me an email, secretyarnery@gmail.com. I'd love to see how your blanket worked up and what colors you used. Can't wait. So thanks so much for inviting me over, and stay hooked.